Hey y'all, my name is Luke. I make bags and I also have this boat project going on. A little bit of a different video today since it's been so long since I've done a boat update. I figured I'd just show you some B-roll of what I've been working on, including the rudder posts, all that kind of stuff, and talk about how the project is going. So as you can see here behind me, I have these molds for the cockpit hatch gutters on the surface here. I've tried to make them not once, but twice, and failed pretty miserably both times. That's what these things are right here. So this was the second attempt that I actually put into the cockpit floor, and then these ones behind it were the first attempt that I noticed were bad enough and just restarted, which is probably what I should have done on the second time. But you know, this is a pretty challenging project for me. I don't get to spend as many hours on it as I would like because I have the bags to make, and I also do audio post-production, and both of those things can bring in a little bit of income, whereas this project just sucks it all away. So yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle lately, to be honest, because it's a big project and I knew it was going to snowball and be more challenging than I thought initially, because projects like this, whether it be a house or a boat or a tiny house or anything, it's always going to be more complicated with more issues coming up than you think, but I didn't think it was going to be quite this difficult. So I mean, to be fully honest, if I knew then what I know now, there's about a 0.05% chance I would have taken this project on, just because it's ballooned so much more than what I was expecting, and my progress is so much slower than what I was hoping for. So it is a bit of a reality check and a humbling experience, to be sure, because I try and I put into the effort and the hours and the materials, and then it turns out to be garbage and I have to start from scratch. So it hits the ego sometimes. And that's, you know, I got myself into this, so there's nobody to blame but myself. And I couldn't do it without the support of my neighbor Tom and my good friend Chris. So without them, this would be just absolutely impossible. So I'm really thankful to them, as well as thankful to all of y'all who have reached out to me with supportive messages. Like, that really helps. 'Cause sometimes, yeah, it's easy to get down on myself when I keep failing at doing stuff. And can be tricky sometimes. So thank you to everyone who's given me positive messages. It does help. So let's go upstairs and check out what it looks like right now. So as you can see here, this is the cockpit floor that's going to drop in right here. As you can see, the issue is that these gutters that I made for it were pretty terrible and would have required about 40 hours of sanding to get them good. So thanks to my neighbor Tom and my buddy Chris, they said it would be a lot quicker to just cut them out of here, start over on the mold surface, make them there, and then pop them in. So the gutters are perfect, don't need to do any sanding on these inside tight radiuses, and that makes sense. So I went ahead and chopped them out of here, ground it all back, and starting over on the molds, because I did cut one of them up into smaller pieces to try to squish into my second attempt to fix what I had made. So I had to fix one of the molds and then reattach them to the table and start over, basically. So hopefully the third attempt will be the charm. Yeah, otherwise I've been working on making the rudder post tube. So that's the tube that will go in the floor right here, and the rudder post goes up into it, and then the rack and pinion system attaches to that rudder post, and it's connected to a link on the steering wheel, and that way when you turn the steering wheel, it's all connected to the rudder post, and that way we can go different directions, which is really handy. But as you can see here, it's been a lot slower progress than I was hoping. I was hoping to be done with this entire cockpit floor by now, including having ordered a pedestal and a steering wheel and installed all that. So hopefully within another couple of months, because at this point I'm just like, you know, I think something's gonna take a week, it ends up taking a month. So I'm just having to recalibrate my estimates and just know that it's gonna take me 2, 4, 6 times as long as I initially thought. So once I readjust my expectations, maybe I won't be as disappointed in the lack of progress and just kind of be more realistic. There's there's not a whole lot else to show other than all the components and parts I've been working on for the cockpit floor, but otherwise down below I have been working on filling all the track holes, because there used to be super long tracks for the head sails, and they're all under here going all the way forward. We're not going to have those super long tracks, we're not going to be doing any racing, so really we don't need that much control over the shape of the head sail, so we're just going to have a much more minimal system, so we don't need all these holes in the deck. So I've been filling them in with glass, grinding them, and that's on both sides of the boat here, so we can see a bunch more holes that I've filled in, some that I have yet to fill in, and then it goes all the way up front as well. And one thing that's been really helpful throughout this project is the guy who designed this boat and who owns the only other one in this same size has been watching the YouTube videos every now and then and has been sending me some email feedback, which is incredibly helpful. I'm super thankful for that. And one really important thing he told me was that these little mini bulkheads that I cut out here from where the fuel tank and water tank go, is that these are actual structural parts to the boat. So I cut them out of here thinking that we'd have just one bigger tank on either side. And after getting that feedback from the guy who designed this boat, glassed them back in, or made new parts and put them back in here on either side, because that's important, turns out, and structural. But other than that, not a whole lot of progress down here inside the boat. I've been focusing really on the cockpit floor. So let's go back out there and check that out again. Just check in on the berth here. Yeah, as you can see, I did put some fiberglass or some carbon fiber here to fill in all the holes. That's just 2 layers of carbon fiber, so nothing too crazy. And yeah, here's the floor again. So as you can see here, there's 1.5 inches of foam total, with 2 layers of biax, 2 layers of carbon on either side, and a layer of matting on top as well. But the bottom side, you can see here, has these ribs that go all the way across, and that's just 1-inch foam with carbon fiber and 3 layers of biax to tab them in here. And then at the bottom here, this is a solid carbon fiber plate that's glassed in here, and that's where the pedestal is going to be mounted. So the bolts for the pedestal are going to go all the way through this solid fiberglass and carbon fiber the whole way through. Kind of a weird shape, but it does fit into this weird area here. Yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason to the way that I shaped this. I kind of wanted this to have a little bit of curve to it, or not curve, sorry, angle. So I did that. A hatch is going to be cut out here, and this is where the hydraulics for the backstay is going to be. So this right here is where the backstay attaches. It'll come up here, and right here, or on this side probably, is where the handle will be able to be clicked in and the hydraulic backstay tension adjusted. And then this is where a cockpit locker door is going to go eventually. So yeah, just kind of grinding away, getting ready, getting all the way down to the foam here so that when this cockpit floor is ready with the gutters glassed in and they actually look decent, it'll just drop in here, I'll tab it in, I'll glass it in, and it'll be fully part of the boat. So it'll be a huge step. This cockpit build has been incredibly time-consuming and difficult and a learning experience. I like to think of it as being character building, because this stuff is not easy to learn. You know, my good buddy Chris told me it takes about 7 years of daily work to get good at this stuff, and this is what, year 2.5 for me. And yeah, I guess I shouldn't be as disappointed in myself as I am sometimes, and feeling the struggle sometimes, but that's just part of it, and just gotta keep looking into the future and visualizing this project and how satisfying it'll be once it's done and it's in the water and we can have some time off and relax. But until then, we'll just keep on trucking. And again, thanks so much for everyone out there who's watched and appreciated somehow this project that I'm doing. It's a weird one. It's not a big boat building projects like the ones that inspired me to do this, like Leo at Tally Ho there. But in a few years, couple years, hopefully we'll be all done here. And another thing is that it will get more expensive as the project goes on. Once we're done with this kind of structural glass and resin intensive phase, it'll get to buying components like electrical systems and all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna get more expensive as the project progresses. So it's good to know that. And if any of y'all out there are interested in more regular updates, you think I should start a Patreon for this? I don't really know if that's something that would be of interest to folks, but if that is, please drop it in the comments. You know, say like, yeah, I'll start a Patreon. I'd be interested in kicking $5 a month or whatever for a weekly update or something. Yeah, I've had that suggested to me. I don't know if there's a market for it. I know there's a lot of good boat building channels out there, so if that's something you'd be interested in, please do let me know. I'm rambling now, so I'll just cut it off here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.